Hi. So today, in the previous videos, we have most likely most of the tools that we need to create a cool, nice story and to understand how to build the story. So today we're gonna just build the story. Um, I'm gonna use the old idea for the story that I had. So, like, quick introduction. Um, I'm with my family on a walk in the woods, in the forest. It's winter. We are walking. The vibe of the woods is weird. I've noticed this, and also when we come back, I talk about this with my wife. That this forest had like a weird vibe, like something happened, like maybe something in a World War II or something. And she was like, yeah, I felt it also. And we are not like, oh, there are ghosts everywhere, but sometimes you come to the like house flat or something and you feel that something happened there, and it's like a weird energy. Even soldiers tell the stories that some places where, for example, where something bad happened, I don't want to say like somebody was unalive, many times, many people, those places have a weird vibe. So we are coming back to the car, and I look at our car and our way from the woods, and there are only our traces in the snow. And this like a scenery, and I started to think like this could be like something like you see this like the car is the in this time when we come back to the car, the car just drove by. And at this time when we were like, I don't know, like 1.5 hour at the forest, no other car drove there, and it was near the road, but almost nobody saw us. So we came back home at evening when the girls were sleeping. I started to think like, what story I can build out of this, what could happen, like how visual I can show it. And I was thinking about the family that goes to the woods. Somebody see them because they drive by, but whatever is left out of family is just a pool of blood in the middle of the forest, and the dog that somebody found on the street. And we don't know what happened with the family. Family just disappeared. The car was still in a park spot uh, in the front of the forest, and yeah, we don't know. And this was the basic idea. Then I started to like riff and tinker, like why this could happen, what could happen, and how to make it interesting and maybe realistic. So after a while, I was just thinking about this, like maybe that could happen. And this is like a baloney part. You're just like trying what sounds okay in your head. So I had this, and I was like, okay, if somebody decides to disappear and to make it in a way that it's like I don't know, like a weird way, but there are some questions, but you cannot really answer, and you don't know what happened. Why people would do it? And I was like, if the guy, for example, was like a lawyer or accountant for like a mob or cartel, then he, for example, knew that something went wrong, and he gonna have to pay with his life for this. So he wanna protect his family, because either way he can be like in danger, or his whole family can be in danger. So he has to like disappear his family because he wanna protect them. So this was the basic idea that I finished like a skeleton. I wrote it like I would say the first draft, and but at the time when I figured out this story, I had no skills, so I couldn't make it like I had no storytelling skills, so I couldn't make it like a good story. So it was just bare bones, like a like a skeleton and like something that you can think of. And you can make it in one paragraph. It's just basic information. So there was a family, they went to the woods. The guy was seeing them because he was driving to work, to his work, and he saw them going to the woods. And then when he comes back from work, the car is still there, but nobody is there. And suddenly the dog comes out from the woods. It's already dark, and the dog just hops into the car with him and just shakes, you know. And then the guy goes home, tells his wife, like, oh, I found this dog, and I don't know, there's a car, I think I should call the police. They call the police come, they find the blood stains on the snow, and then there's a pool of blood. And I was like, and nobody can explain this, even police, because they don't know. Like, they check the house of the family, everything is there, nothing was stolen. So there is a whole investigation what could happen, and they post like missing posters in area. And I was like, why the pool of blood? How you could do this? So the bare bones were like, it was so intense that the father of the family, because he knew that of his dark business things, he had to prepare like a disappearing and make it very believable. And he just regularly took blood out of his child. So it was like medically taken. It wasn't brutally taken. He took it out medically, and to look like it, like something out of this world, occultistic, or like whatever, like a ritual or something, he just took out this medical blood from his child and spilled it on the snow. So it's more like what could happen, and nobody really knows. People think maybe they were unalive, and whatever happened, nobody really knows. And the dog, like if you have a dog, you know that dogs are sometimes stubborn, and especially if they are young. So in this basic story, the dog was young and just didn't follow, and they couldn't come back for the dog, so the dog ran away, and they had to save themselves, so the dog stayed behind. And this is like basic story. So now you have this information. This is the basic story. And now how to make it like a interesting story, because the difference with stories, it's how you're gonna execute it and how you're gonna dress it up. This is like, you can have your sweatpants and hoodie and go to the theater or gala or opera, but you're gonna feel a little bit out of the place, and you're kinda, I wouldn't say you cannot do it, but this is, and also like, it's not about fitting, it's about how you present yourself in this moment. And the same way, we have to present the story in a certain way to make it long-term interesting. To make it long-term interesting, I cannot tell you exactly how the story goes. I know it's ridiculous, but this is how it's done. If you analyze stories around you, this is how it's done. So I cannot tell you this, what I just told you about this story, because this is like we met for the beer, and we are drinking beer, and I just tell you this because I'm three beers in, and this is already a lot to tell. And yeah, and this is like a beer story. Hey, have you heard this? Or joint story, like you met with friends, you smoked a joint, and You are like, oh, guys, I know this story about this guy, and this is true story. And then you just tell the information. In written form or visual form, like movies or theater form, you have to make it differently. You have to make the audience guess what happened, and they have to discover the story, because then it's double interesting, because it wasn't like just, oh, this and this and this and why this is interesting. It's also because their brain is discovering the truth, and our brain, like I said before, it's designed to solve the puzzles, to solve the riddles, to solve the problems. So we have to dress it up layer by layer, and under all those layers there's going to be this story that I told you at the beginning. So how are we going to do it? So we have a guy with a dog that his wife is like, why you bring the dog to home? We didn't discuss this. What is going on? And this is nice, like an introduction, I would say, for the story. So you have to make the scene for the audience to see this. So you can like write down like simple things like I don't know, Mike is coming back from work. Mike is like 60 years old. He's coming back from work, and from his truck jumps a dog, a young, small dog. His wife is looking through the window like every day when Mike comes back from work. It's dark, but she sees the dog. Mike comes to home and he starts to speaking with his wife, and his wife is like, what is this? Why you bring the dog? Why you didn't talk with me about this? Did you plan this? So the dialogue starts, and you try to do like a normal human being conversation, because every wife, every partner like would ask like, what happened? Why you bring the live animal to our home? We didn't discuss this. So you make this dialogue between Mike and his wife about the dog, and Mike is like, I don't know, it's a weird situation. Maybe even I'm gonna have to call the police, because I saw the family going into the woods when I was going to work. Then I come back from work and the car was still there, but the family wasn't there. And I drove a little bit further, and just in the front of my car jumps this dog. I think it's from this family. I think something bad happened. I think I have to call the police. And his wife is also answering like, you should call the police. You should call the police and do something about it. And the Mike is asking like, what about the dog? And the wife is saying like, leave him for now, and maybe we're gonna find a new owner, or the family will come back. And this is introduction. This is like a small hook. You leave it here, and then you move the timeline. You move the timeline, and Mike, this from the beginning, you don't know this, but Mike is a grandfather also. And for vacation before the college comes his granddaughter. And this is Act 1. So we had introduction. This is like just to know the audience that something happened. So this is also, we had already the beginning of our main story, that is underlining of everything. So the base layer, the zero layer is, you don't know this as audience. We know this as creators. So you had your introduction, this scene when Mike is come back to home, and he talks with his wife. And now it's time for telling the story. So it's Act 1. So this is the beginning of the story. So the granddaughter is coming to Mike and his wife before, it's a vacation time, summer, and it's just before the college. So she's around like, I don't know, 18, let's say. 18, I think is before college. She's like 18, 19. And she's just coming to visit her grandparents because it's like a big deal. And truly she want to talk about leaving her parents, because it's like a weird vibe in home, and she want to like talk with the grandmother and grandfather about this, how they deal with it. So the granddaughter is coming, they eat like a lunch, and she sees like at the first moment like, what's about the dog? I didn't saw the dog. I was here like half a year ago and you didn't have a dog, and now you have a dog. And grandma is telling this like, oh, you know, your grandfather, like grandma, because this is another dialogue. So this is like a second perspective narration, where the characters are telling the story, and the more natural they sound, like normal people, the more realistic the story is. So the dialogue is like a normal people dialogue. Oh, you know, your grandfather was coming back from work and he found this dog on the street. I told him like we shouldn't keep it, but he was like, I cannot find any other home for him or her, for the dog. So he stayed with us, I guess, and now we have a dog. And granddaughter is like telling you about the grandparents, how she always perceived the grandparents, how she perceived their house, how she perceived the nature around them, because this is like the beginning of the story. It's just like slowly going up. So this is the perspective of granddaughter about this specific moment in time. And here you can use like a first person narration. So you don't have to do this all the time, but here you can like see the world from the perspective of this granddaughter. Let's call her Mary. So on the page you write as a first person, Mary, like I came to my grandparents, I see, and now it's time for details that makes perceiving reality more realistic in the story. So she is describing emotional thing, seeing her grandparents getting old. Like, it's only half a year, but I see the difference. And I noticed this. I'm happy that I'm here and I can spend time with them. I always love this place. I love the swing in the garden. I love that the garden just goes into the fields and there's like a small woods forest behind them. And I love this place, the nature, and I remember this from my childhood, and so on, so on, so on. And here you can riff. You can use your like experiences. You can use experiences from other people. You can even find experiences, I don't know, in the internet. You can put some emotional stuff that makes this like situation like emotional for the audience to like, oh, this is like important time in life, you know. You visit your grandparents and you see like it's not gonna be forever and you should enjoy it. So this is the first part. And now we are still in the act 1 of the story. So in the act 1 we have to cut to the main story, this 0 layer, in a soft way. Because we have a dog, and dog is like I would say like a messenger between layers, because it's like a character that is in this story that I told you, the layer 0 that nobody knows yet, and in this top layer where Mary is. And now we have to build the layers between this story and story 0, and you have to go through the layers as an audience. I have to create steps for you to go layer by layer by layer. And at the end, if I build the good steps, you're gonna understand the whole story. So we have this. And now we have to go back to the 0 story. So Mary is helping his grandfather in the garden or something in the weekend. And she starts asking about this dog. And he says like, I don't know, should I tell you this? Because maybe you're gonna be worried. and you shouldn't be, because now it's just our dog, you know. But there was this situation. I was going to work. I saw the family going to the forest. The dog was with them. And then I was coming back from work. It was winter. It was already dark. The car was still there, but there was no family. I drove a little bit further and the dog just ran away on the street. And when I stopped, I opened my door, the dog just jumped to my car and was shaking. So I took the dog, you know your grandmother, and yeah, I explained that I found the dog and I saw this weird situation, maybe I should call the cops. And she said, you should. So I called the cops, you know, and it was hard to know anything because cops didn't want to tell me, but I know my way. And I went to the bar at the weekend where the cops are drinking always. And I just sat on the table beside them and I was listening. And this is what I know. This is what they were talking. They were drunk, so I'm not sure. They didn't figure it out. After a week of investigation, they didn't figure it out. They put the posters of the family around the town and a few other towns that they are missing. And nobody called them. They were scared when they were talking what they saw in the woods. Because I know cops, they saw a lot of stuff in their life, but what they saw in the woods, they didn't want to tell in this moment. They were drinking and they were like, no, let's not talk about this. So I don't know what they found in the woods. The thing is, the dog is not with us. The police took the dog just the day after I called them, and they take all the DNA, fingerprints, and whatever they could. I don't know. I'm not the cop, you know? So, and they gave me the dog back, and that's it. So, I don't know really what happened. They had a nice house. I saw them few times. Like they had a nice house, like on the north side of the city, and yeah, it was nice. They drove a nice car. The family seemed like a normal family, like a little bit with the money, but nothing special, you know. I don't know. Like they disappeared. And nobody knows what happened. And here we stop the story. This is the act one. We have a hook. So we have the hook is what the police saw in the forest. What they saw in the forest that was so strong that they don't want to talk about it when they're drinking beer after work. So this is very important, like a hook. So this is your act one. The grandfather introduce you to the story. And this is the promise part. Now we have to put the stakes on. So this is time for act two. And in the act two, it has to happen something that you have more information as an audience. I have to give you more information as an audience. But also we have a storyline of Mary coming back to her grandparents and having a summer before the college, before becoming like a adult person, because it's like a change. She's gonna leave her parents, she go to the different city, she's gonna live in a dorm room, and this is like a big thing. She's not a child anymore. So she's growing up, she's seeing her grandparents, and this is like also, so we come back to Mary's story. This is the layer on the top of the story. Now we are a little bit like, we have pieces. Those pieces are steps to the down layer, but still they are chaotic and you cannot go completely down to the zero layer that is like a main story that I told you at the beginning. So now the Mary meets like a childhood friend, because if you go visit your home after many years, you want to like connect with some people, or either if you don't have any connections with other people that they are there still, you go to the bar and just like meet somebody. So now we have to decide, is Mary going to just to the bar for the drinks, or she's going to the bar for the drinks with her like a childhood friend. And she can go to the, if we want to make it more interesting, she goes to the bar. She goes to the bar with a childhood friend from this area, and this childhood friend is like a mother now. So we make the contrast, like complete different worlds that are collapsing with each other. So Mary is like still a child growing up, but now this is like a big deal to go to the college and leave the parents. And we have like let's say Jenny, yeah, okay, Jenny. And we have a Jenny that was pregnant when she was 17 with her friend from the classmate from the high school, and now she's 18 and she's a mother. And for Jenny, this is like when Mary called her or met her on the street, whatever, they can met on the street before. And Jenny is with a stroll and baby. So for Jenny, it's like a night out with the girls. She's a mother, she doesn't have a time for herself, and it's like freedom for her, okay? So we have this. So we put different emotions from different sides. This is the storytelling part. You put different emotions from different sides, but you still keep underlying the zero base layer of the story, that is the main story that we have to reveal at the end. But you have like a points that are hitting you as an audience, and you are more involved in the story because it's another something interesting. It's another something interesting. It's like a food that is not like a boring food. Like you have pieces that are tasting different and they are looking different. So Mary and Jenny, they are in the bar and they are talking about life. Jenny is telling her like she's very happy as a mother, but I don't know, her relationship is not so happy, and she's happy that she came out of the home because it's tough to be a mother. Mary is telling her like big deal for her is like leaving the parents, and she sees like maybe the parents will divorce now or something. So we put like a normal people in normal situation, life situation, and we just tell this. Like it can happen everywhere. Doesn't matter the country, language, or whatever. This situation can be anywhere. So they are talking, and this is the things that how much you want to give it as a creator, writer, how much you want to give it, because I don't want to make you bored, but I want to make you like a little bit more involved, and I want to take the direction of the story back to the zero layer that is hidden. So after a few drinks, usually you talk about everything already. And Mary is telling Jenny about this dog that her grandparents have and so on. And Jenny knows something. Jenny knows something because, I don't know, her husband is a cop now. Yeah? He was older in the high school, and he's a cop now in the city because he had to provide for his family. So he finished the high school and he went to the police to earn money immediately. He had like a military or police, the only choices. So he chose the police. Yeah. So Jenny's husband is a cop, and Jenny have some information, but it doesn't happen now in the bar, because I have to take you and I have to keep you in a suspense. So the phone of Jenny is ringing. It's her husband. What a coincidence. It's her husband. The baby is crying. Can Jenny come home? And so on. So Jenny takes Mary. Come with me. Mary sees Jenny's life. She met her husband. She sees the baby. She touched the baby, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And Jenny is gonna tell Mary information from zero layer in the middle of the story, because Jenny gonna say, when our daughter was born, I knew we're gonna do everything for her. we will kill anybody, or we will die just for her. And this is like, this pin is in the middle of the story. This is raising the stakes, you know? I'm telling you, the part from the 0 layer in the top layer, you don't know it yet, but this is important dialogue. So Jenny is telling this to Mary. Mary is like, wow, like family, I want to have this someday also, but now I have to focus on the college. Okay, so the baby doesn't stop to cry, and Jenny is like, Mary, I'm sorry, you can stay if you want, but I have to focus on the baby now, and we can meet tomorrow for a coffee. I bring the baby, we can go for a park, to the park where I always go with the baby, with the stroll, and we can talk. And this is end of the Act 2. This is, everything is prepared. Now the end part of Act 2 of the story, the middle part. So the Mary says, awesome, we're gonna see each other. She comes back home. I don't know, she takes taxi if she's drunk or something. Let's not make Mary now, in the middle of the story, go to the jail because she's drunk driving. Let's not do this. Mary comes back to grandparents' home, and she goes to sleep. Next day she sees Jenny in the spot where Jenny said that they're gonna meet. They go to the park, they see other children, other mothers. Jenny is like, oh, I don't like this one, I don't like that one, this, oh, they are nice, and so on, so on. So like a life, normal life situations, you know? And at the park, the baby is sleeping, they're drinking their coffee, they're sitting on a bench, and after like few dialogues, few like how's the weather and so on, this you can put like really few, like a 1 paragraph maximum. You don't have to like stretch it. Just put something that like normal people talk, and then Mary can ask Jenny about this situation with the dog. And Jenny gonna, at the end of the Act 2, Jenny gonna reveal a lot. So Jenny is now the narrator of the story throughout the dialogue with Mary, and she's telling her that there was a family. They didn't look so rich, but they had, it seems to, they had a lot of money, because when the police went to the house, they found a lot of jewelry and expensive things. Outside it looked like a normal family, but inside in the home they found something. And Jenny is telling the Mary the story that there was family that her grandfather saw coming to the woods, and they didn't came out, but the dog stayed somehow, and her grandfather found the dog, and police went, and he called the police, and the police went to the scene, and they found the car. The car was unlocked, and they went through the traces in the snow, and in the middle of the forest they found a pool of blood. The blood was the blood of the boy that was in this family, and there was no other traces, and they don't know what happened. The only thing that stayed is the dog, but the dog cannot speak. The car, all the things in the home, it was like they just went for a walk. The police tried to find them in the other cities. They put the posters, they made like a TV commercials about this. They put information on the milk. Nothing happens. Nobody rang them, nothing. They disappeared. The police, one of the chief of the police tried to like use his connections with the FBI, and he called the FBI. Maybe they left the country, but his friend from FBI checked it on the airports, and they didn't left the country, because this information with their passports would be available and he could check it. But this didn't happen, so they just disappear. They disappear into the woods in the winter, and all what was left, it was pool of blood of the boy. And here we end Act 2. So now you are suspended. What the hell happened? Why the pool of blood? What is going on? Where's the family? You know? Act 3 is like a gentle staccato now, because I can go directly, like a German style, like pump, fist in your face, and somehow I can put Mary into a situation where somebody tells her more, or we can do it very softly, punching but softly. And I kind of have an idea for the Act 3. So Act 3, it's closing, it's catharsis, you know? It's a moment that you're gonna finish the story in your head. And I have to prepare all the steps for you. I have 2 ideas, and we can maybe make these 2 endings. So first ending is, this is like the simplest way to finish the story. And also like a little bit dark and like a mysterious, like kind of like a Hitchcock way. I'm gonna give you all. I'm gonna left you without questions. But let's see. I'm gonna tell you first, the first version. This is the first version. So Mary now in the Act 3, Mary, so it's like, if you put chapters, pieces, this is end part of the story. So Mary now is a while in her grandparents' house. The dog is there like a half a year already. She plays with the dog, she goes for walks with the dog. And it's a summer evening, like let's say 10 p.m. It's almost night, but it's still this gray light, you know. It's only in the summer, so it's like let's say 9 p.m. between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. around. She doesn't say the hour because you have to, as a writer, you have to make it easy for you. So she doesn't have say the hour, somewhere around, and the light is already like a gray light, and they walk like a. Her grandparents have like a little farm, and she walks like a country road just close to the forest. And when she does it now, she's staying like 2 weeks at her grandparents, and she does it every other evening with the dog, because it's like her mantra, her like a thing to relax and think about how it's gonna be in the college. So she walks the dog, and suddenly the dogs just run away to the woods. She looks for the dog, and she cannot find the dog. And she's like worried, like she's almost start crying, and she looks for the dog, and then it's going to be dark, and she's screaming, crying, and he sees like a man in the woods. And the man is holding the dog, but the dog is like calm. And now we can do 2 things. We can cut it here, and you can put the story together that this is the owner of the dog, and somehow they came back for the dog, for whatever reason. We can make dialogue between this person in the darkness and Mary, because maybe we can reveal it in the simplest way. Let's make Mary a child that is unaware of danger, and she goes to the man. And she says like, you have my dog. This is my parents' dog. Please give it back. Because she's worried. She's shaking, but she's like a child that wanna be brave. And the guy says, no, it's my dog. I came back for it. And she's like, she starts like thinking, and she starts shaking because she understands the situation. Oh, this is maybe from this family and so on. And whatever in this situation, like she just asks, what happened why the pool of blood? And it should be like silence, because now we put all the pressure to the other character that we don't know. Does this character will reveal the plot, the story? And this is like important thing, because I can leave you right there and forever you're gonna try to figure it out, the story. Because the guy is just walking with the dog, Mary is shaking and coming back to grandparents, she says to them this, and yeah, the story ends. Maybe she meets Jenny and so on, and Jenny gives her a little clue, but I leave you without answers. And this is the way of ending the story, where you wanna like don't give an answer, and this story will stay with you as an audience forever, because the riddle, the mystery wasn't solved, and you're gonna solve this puzzle in your head throughout whole your life. This is just the way. This is one of the tricks when you write. I can do this, but also I can do like a small dialogue, because the guy can tell her like, walk with me, you know? He holds the dog and he walks with this girl, and he says pieces of information, because he cannot say this directly to you. And he says, I was working for wrong people. The only way that I could save my family was to disappear. So I make them disappear, but they are okay. You don't have to worry about them. The dog was young and didn't listen and ran away, but I couldn't come back for the dog. But now I could, so I came back. And the guy goes to the car without any plates and just drove away with the dog. And Mary stays and goes back home. And this is end of Act 3. Now the Mary talks with the grandparents, and you can put whatever you want, because this is like... And then before she goes, she meets with Jenny again, and Jenny tells her like it might be true, because Brian, her husband, said like the guy probably worked for the cartel or like a mob or something, and something went wrong. And yeah, and Brian told Jenny that never in any other small cities around this area nobody saw this much of blood, and it looked like ritualistic kill. So Jenny is like detective now, mommy detective, and it's like putting things together, and she's telling the story to Mary, and she says like maybe he had to run away, so he prepared this, and yeah, but maybe he took out the blood from his child, from his son, and didn't kill because if you come back for the dog, would you be able to kill your son? No, you wouldn't. And probably the son was also connected with the dog and whole family, so he came back for the dog. And here you leave the kind of story like the Jenny is going to the college, and the last things are about Mary is going to the college, and the last things are like her worries about when she's gonna see her grandparents again, and yeah, how her parents gonna go through the now breaking the connection with their child and being alone. And at the end of her thought process, you leave like 1, 2, 3 sentences that she's still thinking about this situation with the dog, And you can do it like the last sentence can be, I cannot stop thinking about that he came back for the dog. I don't know, would I come back for the dog? And here you leave it. Because Jenny is a child, she doesn't know how to be an adult yet and what type of adult she's gonna be. And now she's going to her journey. Now we have all the steps built up with different people, grandparents, Jenny, Brian, Mary, all the steps were slowly going down where on the 0 layer was our main story that slowly was revealed. And this is how you storytell. This is the storytelling part. I don't give you the straight up information. I make you find it out slowly with your own brain. But I prepared kind of caution, kind of soft your steps. And this is my job as a writer, as a creator, to prepare journey for you. And this journey should be nice, cool, or mysterious, or scary, or whatever it's gonna be that I was planning to do, and you are like expecting to be. So this is the story. Now you know. Now we created the whole story. Out of the tools that we had, we created whole story. So we have like a 0 layer. This is the story about the guy that worked for the wrong people and had to leave and have to disappear, and he chose like a movie way just so nobody knows anything. Then we have a top layer. This is Mary layer. Then we have a Jenny's childhood friend layer. Then we have a grandparents here somewhere, grandparents layer. Here we have somewhere Brian layer, her Jenny's like a husband. And the Brian and Jenny, they are putting the last steps to the story, and Mary. So this is how you do it. This is how you build the story. This is how you create the story, and this is how you storytell. Because storytelling is making something simple more interesting, more fun, more cool, however you wanna more. It's just more. You don't just get your dumplings on the plate. They are decorated, the plate is nice, the smell, you smell, they are hot, perfectly hot. Everything has to be in place so you enjoy the story. So this is the storytelling part from my side. I have to have the skill, or you as a storyteller, you have to have the skill to tell the story in this particular way. Or other way, but interesting. See you later.